I'm Dr. Brian Curtice, one of the paleontologists here at Fossil Crates, and I'm breaking down the heavyweight brackets in the 2021 Chewly Chompionship. The heavyweight bracket, you had to be 8,000 pounds or more, but we let the Cinderella Allosaurus, who is our number 8 seed, come in at only 6,000 pounds. Now, why Allosaurus? Well, if you watched last year's championship, you know Allosaurus surprised the field of 16, going all the way to the final four. An amazing performance, super cerebral. He leveraged his speed. Allosaurus is a speedy animal, and he played to his strengths. What's Allosaurus' greatest strength? Massive hand claws. Massive indeed, and it has the widest opening mouth of any dinosaur. So it could stab it with its well over 50 teeth in one repeated bite, or rapid fire biting. So Allosaurus last year surprised everyone with its blitzkrieg bite, snap at the eyes, and then run. Take a bite and then run. It was one of the fastest of all the heavyweights last year. It met its end in the final four, where it did not count on the extra length and power of Spinosaurus. So it had a great run, but all good Cinderella stories seem to come to an end. We'll see how it goes this year as the number 8 seed. It has a tough draw in the number 1 seed, which we'll cover here in a bit. But this particular Allosaurus, if you're wondering, well, how's an Allosaurus even in the heavyweight class? Because we're basing it off of Epantarius. I actually went and touched those specimens in the American Museum of Natural History. Cope described them as a sauropod. So as a sauropod researcher, I went and looked at them, and yeah, I confirmed what everyone else who long before me had realized. These were a big, big Allosaurus. And until someone publishes something else, I'm going with it as just the straight up genus of Allosaurus. Could be a different species, different time frame it lived in. Regardless, though, you're looking at something that was well over 35, possibly 39 feet long. Being Allosaurus, it's lightly built, coming in at around 3 tons. Super excited to see Allosaurus. Everybody seems to love Allosaurus. It is definitely outfitted with the weapons to take it deep into this tournament. The number 7 seed in our heavyweight tournament is another interesting dinosaur. It is Carcharodontosaurus. Now, Carcharodontosaurus has one of the largest theropod skulls. So some could argue, why is it pushed down into the 7th seed? It depends on how you're interpreting its weight, and its length is one of the reasons why. We've got it in at 39 feet and 4 tons. The weight estimates for Carcharodontosaurus are all over the place. Can't take anything away from its massive skull. Here is a Carcharodontosaurus tooth that Fossil Crates offers. This particular tooth, very sharp, large, chock full of teeth in its mouth. Feels like steak knives serrated on the front and the backs. This thing takes a bite, you know it, leaving jagged wounds. Bite, chomp, huge, huge skull, 5 feet long, plus or minus. Amazingly large animal. Carcharodontosaurus could go deep, deep into this tournament. It's got all of the skills. It is powerful, reasonably quick, and has that just jaws for days. Can't wait to see what you all vote on for Carcharodontosaurus. The number 6 seed is an animal that I am personally a huge fan of. It's criminally underrated. Torvosaurus. Arguably the king of the Jurassic, though the number 5 seed may have issues with that. Torvosaurus hand claw, as defined by its original paper. This is a cast of that specimen. And here is a gorgeous Torvosaurus tooth. As you can see, it is giant. Cover up the root, it's still a huge, massive tooth. This is a megalosaurid we're talking about. Megalosaurs have that wild, primitive power. Massively strong arms, huge claws, big mouth, lots of teeth. Megalosaurs just bring the heat. They are some of my favorite theropods. It's old school power, old school savagery. Will Torvosaurus advance deep into the playoffs as it did last year? Hard to say, but I'm rooting for it, that's for sure. Number 5 is Saurophaganax. Now, Saurophaganax is an Allosaurid. Some have even suggested Saurophaganax is an Allosaurus. One of the most esteemed Allosaur researchers has assured me no, it is definitely a unique genus. It is identifiable. It's known from one of the largest claws to come out of the Morrison Formation, if not the largest claws. It terrorized Oklahoma, and Saurophaganax has been proposed that it ate sauropods, the largest land animals to ever walk the land. Saurophaganax brings teeth, Strong, crazy strong claws. Makes Allosaurus and even Torvosaurus' hand claws look puny. Cannot wait to see what the public votes with Saurophaganax. Is not one of the better known dinosaurs outside of the hardcores, but those of you that love the hardcore dinosaurs know Saurophaganax deserves a conversation whenever you're talking about the most powerful theropod. The number 4 seed, Giganotosaurus, and some have argued this should be seeded even better, even higher up. But it's at number 4 in our tournament. Giganotosaurus is coming in at 5+ tons in weight, coming in at almost 40 feet long, with one of the longest skulls. I've had the pleasure of touching both of the Giganotosaurus skulls that are in Argentina back in 1998. It was an honor and a privilege to be shown those specimens. Unbelievably massive, long, low skull. The Carcharodontosaurus have this long, low skull that's designed to just chomp flesh. Huge, massive chunks of flesh could be rended. Unbelievably large skull. Powerful, powerful body. Excited to see what the public thinks of Giganotosaurus. I'm a big fan. It's gorgeous material, and can't wait for them to continue to find more and more of it. This is a Carcharodontosaurid tooth. This is not the Giganotosaurus tooth, though Fossil Craze is working on trying to get a cast of it. Blades for days, front and back serrated, huge, massive steak knives. The number 3 seed in our tournament is another Argentine Carcharodontosaurid, actually older than Giganotosaurus, rock-wise. Tyrannotitan is known from a fragmentary skull that's nearly as large as that of T-Rex and on par with that of Giganotosaurus. It's fragmentary, though. I have to emphasize, this animal is known from bits and bops, enough to know that it was very large indeed. Its tooth also would have been very similar to Giganotosaurus. There's one really nice tooth known from it. Double serrated, or serrated in the front and in the back. Tyrannotitan with another massive, chompy, bitey skull. Excited to see again what the public does. This is not a dinosaur that a lot of people know about. Hopefully we find more of it here in the near future. But Tyrannotitan, size-wise, appears to be just a little bit bigger than Giganotosaurus, which is why it was rated number 3 in the seedings. The number 2 seed was our finalist last year, lost in the championship round. Spinosaurus. Spinosaurus brings massive hand claws, a body that could conceivably pass 50 feet in length, a weight which, if you believe the estimates, because they're all over the map, could have exceeded 7 tons potentially. 5.5 foot, 6 foot sail on its back, a skull over 5 feet long, looking like a long crocodile skull, full of stabby teeth that are excellent at taking out fish, a quick snapping jaw, huge range on its arms, much longer than the arms of the other theropods in the heavyweight division, long, powerful, scythe-like claws, great for slashing. This animal's got power, it's got strength. Spinosaurus brings a lot of variables to the table. Definitely last year made it all the way to the final round. Our reigning chomp is none other than Tyrannosaurus. Tyrannosaurus brings to the table everything in the quintessential apex predator. First of all, you've got size, well over 40 feet long. Weight, pushing 8 tons on the high side estimates. This animal is massive. I had the pleasure to go to Japan and see Tyrannosaurus next to Spinosaurus. And when they're side by side, you see the utter size of T-Rex. Well, let's talk about some of that size. Here's a T-Rex tooth. Deep root goes into the, essentially a dentary, going into the lower jaw. Coming up with the shed maxilla tooth here. The power. This is the most powerful bite of all known dinosaurs. Crushes through bone. These are D-shaped killer banana teeth that could puncture through bone. And we know it has. We found Triceratops pelvis where the T-Rex ripped out a large chunk of the sacrum, the sacral spines. The Triceratops got away, but not for long. It died a messy death. T-Rex, powerful bites. Unbelievable power in its legs. Probably the most powerful legs of any of the competitors. And this is a toe claw that Fossil Crate sells. It's so thick we can't even put it in our crate. The T-Rex foot with 3 of these claws could probably kick wide open any of the competitors in this tournament. Definitely it could kick a hole through pretty much anything short of an ankylosaur. And on the ankylosaurs, it could bite through them. So yes, everyone makes fun of its tiny little limbs. 2 claws on each hand. The arms the size of an adult weightlifter's arm, so pretty muscular. It's thought that it may have used these as meat hooks when it's got its mouth grabbing around, crushing through bone to help just stab and hold and just keep you from wriggling. So T-Rex, the bite, most powerful bite of anyone in the tournament, most powerful bite of any meat-eating dinosaur that we know about. Also has the massive toe claws, plus T-Rex was quick. Now I know there's been recent studies that come out that suggest it wasn't as fast as we think it was, but when you look at those legs and you look at that long tail, this is a counterbalanced tail designed for a head-first predator. I still prefer to think of it as a moving missile. We'll see the biomechanists as they argue back and forth using different models. But for this tournament, at least in my mind, the T-Rex is fast, maneuverable, and powerful. And if you saw last year, Spinosaurus, well, we'll come to that later, actually.